I keep my keys in the fridge freezer overnight because they can't remotely access the code.
Journalist Giles Coren tweeted this week about the dismay of his car being stolen again.
He says they've stolen my car again, cost me $3,000 to reset the keys and put in a new tracking system after last time. And what good does it do? Yes, you can see that. If you see a black Jaguar I-Pace with the registration ending this, could you tell me, and I'll give you £1 million. The frustration...
Lucky to have £1 million.
Well, I think the frustration is coming through, but it begs the question, is it worth splashing the car out on a car if it continuously gets stolen? What can you do if you find yourself in a same or similar situation? And one of the other aspects of this, he reported to the police. 46 minutes later, they rang and said they'd closed the case.
Yeah, that was awful,
which is an issue.
Saying, well, there's not enough evidence
but anyway,
to find the person.
So what do you
Rubbish.
do? Done?
Yeah,
right,
sorry.
OK. Well, now, a little more now about what can be done to keep your four wheels where you left them and whether it's worth spending the money on a new car. Let's talk to Danny Kelly, friend of the programme.
He's our fave.
He was here last night. He's there this afternoon.
Yeah.
Danny, I mean, have you got sympathy with Giles Coren, first of all?
Well, very much so. His car would have been stolen for parts or potentially being shipped abroad to countries like Africa. His car is not really the sort of vehicle that is going to have your front door put through at 3 a.m. by mask-wielding knife lunatics because they want the car for a bank heist. That sort of car would be like a four-wheel drive supercar Audi RS6. That's the sort of car that you're going to have your door kicked in at 3 a.m. for. His car probably has been stripped already. Potentially, the interior could well be on eBay as we speak. He mentioned that he had his keys recoded. What the thieves would have done, they would have broken into his car and then quite simply plugged a rather sophisticated computer into the car's computer, and within seconds they would have had a key, a clone key. What you can do, believe it or not, and I'm going to take you back to the 1980s and 90s here, is slow them down somewhat with a really high-quality steering lock. Now, his Jaguar, the alarm would have gone off, so they would have had to suppress the alarm. Then they would have cloned the key, taking 30 seconds. But he could have slowed them down for 5 or 6 minutes with something like that. I drive a car which is very desirable, and I keep my keys in the fridge freezer overnight because they can't remotely access the code, even if they have a gizmo at the front door which reads it.
Well, Giles Coren, I know, put his keys in a metal box to stop that, but I mean, putting a key in a freezer, I mean, what happens to the battery?
I don't know, Simon. I honestly don't know, but I'd rather have to go to Halfords and replace a battery than go through my insurance 1 or 2 times to have the car replaced or the keys replaced. I do worry, honestly. I've had this car a week. It's a BMW M5. I went down to London to collect it on Friday, and it's the only car I've had that I do worry about whether it's going to be on the drive the next morning.
Is there any point in spending the sort of money on a car when you've got speed limits now of 20 miles an hour in many cities, motorways are bringing their speed limits down, and every time you park it, you're going to worry about it? Are there days of that sort of spending? Are they coming to an end?
Well, Simon, I think next time us three chat, it may even be about an EU directive that as of 2024, I think all European Union built cars are going to have mandatory speed limits on them. I think Volvo recently have capped their cars at 112 miles an hour, which is fast enough for anyone. But the EU directive, I think, is going to rely on technology and satellites, and somehow autonomously the car will react and slow you down. It's news that's only been out a week or so. But you're right. When I left the GBNews studios last night, you have these average speed cameras on the A40, 20 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour. There is no pleasure in driving a car like the BMW M5 unless you can get it on a fast road. And everything's average speed cameras nowadays. So, Simon, you're right. Yeah, great point.
Now, as a vendor of second-hand vehicles yourself, do you ever get people coming up to you saying, oh, here you go, mate, sell this, and you worry about where it's come from?
Well, you did it to him last night in this studio.
That was my car. I didn't nick it.
Yeah, but it's the same argument. It's exactly what you did.
No, I'm saying, have you ever got a stolen vehicle presented to you? Bro, don't get gossip going about provenance of my car.
Sorry,
A
Danny.
suspicious character, and it was far too cheap, Simon. That tells you all you need to know about the provenance on that car last night. I won't sell a car. I won't buy a car off anyone unless I double and triple check everything. I certainly won't sell a car on behalf of someone, because as a retailer, if the car goes pop after 2 or 3 weeks, then I'm liable. Now, I have to repair the car, even though I've given the owner, sale or return owner, his or her money. So you need to be double cautious in this game, mate, because there's lots of crooked bent cars and lots of crooked bent customers.
Hey, come on, that. Do you think the police are taking this seriously, this issue of stolen cars?
Yes. In fact, I know they're taking it seriously in Warwick, because only a couple of weeks ago there was a stolen car that was dumped at the end of this rather leafy, quiet canal-facing road, and it was the last place in the Midlands you'd expect a 2010 car to be, well, just parked up, and it transpired that it was nicked, and the thieves dumped it there. Well, they parked it here. A neighbour was suspicious. They called the local plod, and the plod came out, and they lifted it, and the next day, 24 hours later, the thieves came back to see if it had a tracker device and to see if it was still there.
Well, there you are.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.